Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Silent Podcast, place that everything but silent. I'm your host Isaiah, and we're back to talk Big Brother Canada Week 5. We've had a very executive week, as some people would say, and we got a lot to talk about. So, per usual, I got my co-host Josie. Josie, what's going on?
I am kind of excited to talk about this. If anyone knows, I was Team Dennis before that nasty, nasty eviction. So I'm not saying I do feel bad for Vivek because it sucks to come out of a twist, but karma is best served cold, all right? And it was done coldly and executively, so I'm here for it.
All right, and another executive board member here of Silent Podcast. We have Chanel. Chanel, what's going on?
Nothing much with me. I'm excited to be here. I'm like fresh to the episode. I just caught up, so I'm like ready to talk about it all because honestly, no one does like twists and turns like Big Brother Canada does. I don't care what anyone says. Like they do it right.
All right, and then we also got special guests. Regular now. This is probably the third time here because of the mini. We have Betty. Betty, what's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to talk about this week. I thought this was such a good episode. It had me at the edge of my seat. I'm also a strong advocate for we should always be showing votes because that was so good. So good. So I'm pumped to be here. Thank you.
Of course. Real quick before we even get into anything, Betty, how have you been feeling about this season so far? What's the vibe for you?
Honestly, I have been loving this season. I've been seated every single second. I'm like, wow, this is so good. I feel like we're getting good. The players are good. I'm loving the all-star twist. In the beginning, I thought that, the all-stars would probably be at a disadvantage. There's 2 against, the 10 or whatever it was, 12. But I'm like, okay, the all-stars are eating. Like, it's just, I feel like it's keeping me at the edge of my seat, and it's just amazing TV. So I'm pumped.
How did you feel when everyone was talking about it's about to be all stars? Betty's got to be in it. Like, did you? What was your feelings with that? Like, did you think that you were going to get called or something or what?
No, I didn't actually think like you always possibly have that in the back of your head if you've ever played, but I knew like at a certain point if like you weren't getting a call, it definitely wasn't me. But as soon as I saw the, feelers on the internet of who it might be, I was like messaging them immediately. So I think I knew who they were gonna be, but I did maybe play into it a little bit if people did suspect it was me, but I knew it wasn't. But I'm really excited that it was Dougie and Spicy. They're giving us excellent TV. Like, would you guys not agree?
100%.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
okay. All right. Well, listen, we have a whole lot to unpack of this crazy week. Last time we were even here, we thought like anything could happen because Goose HOH didn't really know what was going on. We were talking about like, you should do what Anthony tells him to do. Maybe you should take a shot. We don't know. And obviously, utter mess came out of this. So, Josie, how do you feel about Goose's HOH overall? He nominated Tola and Todd for a backdoor target trying to beat Bailey. Obviously, the veto didn't get used, and a whole bunch of crap happened. So, before we even get to the twist, how did you feel about his HOH overall?
Messy boots, messy the house down. Oh my goodness. I did not think that Goose would be the type to have a messy HOH. He said he's a big fan, that he's always playing the game. He's been hyping himself up, right? And so we get this HOH, and I was surprised at how messy he was. I just feel like HOH is a great moment to solidify some alliances, really certify your place. And I think he did quite the opposite, as we'll talk about later. And so I was really surprised by the results that we did get. And I'm always pro put your target on the block first. I don't care if you want a backdoor. There is always a risk. You never know. So I would rather put 2 people up that I would be content leaving than like putting one that I'm kind of okay with leaving and then someone I'm not really okay with leaving so that I can backdoor someone. I just feel like there's always a risk, and it's better to put people on the block than to do this because Goose definitely flopped.
Goose definitely fought. How about you, Chanel? Did you feel like Tola and Todd were the noms here, or was this a complete miss for him?
Honestly, like she just said, "Oh, like I didn't like he was messy. I like didn't see it coming. I saw it coming." You know why? Because you always got these gamer people coming in like, "I'm a big super fan. I know how to play this game." And then they come in and overthink every single freaking decision that they do. And then do the like this was not the move, but I feel like with Goose, he's just like very in his head about like, oh, I'm with this person, I'm with that person, I'm trying to like appease this person and not overall just thinking about his game overall. Like he didn't really look at it, from the top down. He was just like, I need to appease Dougie. Like I'm with, Spicy V. Like because I feel like the super fan is just like taking over too much of him and he's not thinking logically. And this was just not the move. And she's right. If Bailey's your target, you put up Bailey. And if Bailey comes off, like that's the end of it, right? It's not, oh, I don't want them to play for the veto. You're putting your game in someone else's hands as soon as they pick up that veto. It's not your game anymore. So you don't want it unless it's with you. It's you're messed up. So I don't think he played this well at all this week. And he was kind of sporadic the whole time. So it just makes him look even worse.
Yeah, Betty, obviously he put his noms were Todd and Tola. Tola did show some pushback. He was voicing that like, I kind of want to do Lexus and Matt, but like I don't think it's the right time. We do have Bailey and other people telling him like, hey, like I would back like a Matt and Lexus nomination. Do you think he should have did that instead of Tola and Todd, or like did he make the right choice?
I think if he wanted to make a move that was probably his own, he would have went with Lexus and Matt. But because, to your point, Chanel, he was trying to appease like everyone. Like he wanted the girls to be happy with him and then Dougie, the guys. So I feel like he didn't really make the decision that he probably wanted to. So yeah, I do think that he probably wanted to put Matt and Lexus up, but instead he put up Tola and Todd. With having Bailey as a target also makes you think, was Bailey even the target, or was he just kind of saying that because he didn't really care who went home from the three? Do you know? So it was probably, in my mind, he was probably just thinking, I can still be okay with the girls if I make this move, but I don't really care if Bailey leaves either.
Okay. Me personally, I wasn't sure where the Bailey nomination even came from. Like, am I missing something? Was there some kind of feud going on, or what? Like, I didn't see that.
I think ultimately the issue with Goose is that he solidified himself to this alliance. And while his alliance members potentially don't really care about his departure, we've heard multiple times that they're okay voting him out over Bailey. He doesn't view it that way. And I do think that to a degree, he's not wrong either, because this week showed that there are cracks in the directors. And while his insight was correct, his execution, in my opinion, was done poorly. So I think Bailey is the perfect person to go after because, for one, Tola, in my opinion, will always be considered a bigger threat than Goose, whereas they see an ally in Bailey and they prioritize Bailey. And he knew because Tola told him, like he had the information he needed. And I think he executed that chance poorly. If they're telling you that they're going to keep Bailey over you, you put Bailey on the block. It's like that you have someone who is not above you in the game anymore. So yeah. I think maybe that was his insight. And also they don't really have a game relationship. They don't talk. I think the guys are always going to be closer to the guys in general, and the girls are going to be closer to the girls. So the people who are not aligned in those alliances that the people in power are in ultimately kind of get discriminated, for lack of a better word, against for the gender because they're not as connected. So had Bailey won, for sure, like I think Goose would have gone on the blog and Tola because she's not working with them. So right. I get the move.
No, I didn't understand this one thing. He sort of succeeded in one department where like he kind of started some problems within the Hot Chocolate Alliance. I don't think, obviously nobody knows the Hot Chocolate Alliance is a thing though, right? So he unintentionally like kind of started a little feud, and we'll get into them in a second. But like, I don't understand what his mindset was when he was just like, all right, I'm going to tell Matt that Kayla said this, and I'm going to tell Kayla that Matt said this. And because in his mind, he's in the directors, which all these people are involved with. So I don't really see what the overall end goal is here. Does anyone have any idea why he would be doing something like this?
No. I was gonna go on to Josie's point, because I was like, he got all this information, right? So what you're supposed to do is hold your cards close, right? And just use it at the right time. It's like, you're so early. Like, why are you doing this now? You could have like held your cards close and then played it when you're in like a situation where it's like it's you versus this other person, and be like, oh, by the way, this person was throwing you under the bus last week, like they aren't with you. Like, why are you just like spewing everything that anyone tells you? Like, I don't think he thought that through. I think he's just like really giddy, and he's like, I got this information that someone told me, because no one ever tells me anything. I'm just this pawn. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you got to hold it close to your chest until it's the right appropriate time for it. So I'm not sure why he did that. Yeah.
I think that too. He probably is just too trusting in his alliance. Like,
Yeah.
isn't the directors and a lot, like there's 10 people in the house, there's like 8 of them in the directors. So he's probably really trusting in his alliance and not really he's probably a little delusional in where he stands in the ranking. So I think that's probably just him being, like you said, a little excited and making a huge mistake.
I think to your point, Chanel, as well, I think Goose hasn't played the game in X amount of days. I'm not going to lie. I think
No.
Goose got added into an alliance pretty late on in the game, which for someone who watches the show, I feel like you should know alliances are made like week 1, day 3 at max. So like a big alliance is made. And I think Goose was added late because we had so many other things going on. The Girls Alliance. We had Hot Chocolate been formed, and he hadn't been in anything. Him and Tola, on our first recap, I think we had a graphic, and he was just on the outskirts. Like he wasn't a part of something. And I think once he got added into something, that's where that trust began, because he has nothing else. And now at this point in time, I think he just wants to play the game. And so now he's like, I'm HOH, I'm not a pawn anymore, let's play. But because I feel like maybe he thinks he has to play catch up, he's overdoing it. And that's why I think a lot happened. And I think people forget very quickly that information is power. And instead of holding it, they go and they tell XYZ. And it wasn't like there was an exchange of trust. He was causing distrust with the other people towards him, which was really weird for someone who wants to play a collective game, but then did the complete opposite.
For sure. And I was also kind of shocked about the fact that I didn't realize how close how close he saw himself with Kayla, because he was telling Kayla like everything. Like I didn't know if this was his number 1 or something. Obviously, till the veto selection, it seemed like his closest allies in his mind was Kayla and Dougie. Was this like reciprocated on Kayla's part, or was she just ready to toss him to the wolves whenever?
I think she's ready to toss him to the wolves whenever. It is absolutely wild to see how many people view Kayla and Dougie as their number 1. I think that just within itself, that power of influence just shows what type of players they are, And I just think that it's for Goose to think that Dougie and Kayla are his number 1. Like, I don't know. I think that's I'm mind boggled.
That's wild. I after I watched the last episode today, I was like, if someone was to ask me like who's in a really good spot right now, and most people would be like Dougie, I'm like, no, Kayla. Kayla's in a great spot. I was like, Kayla's just like kind of under the radar in really good alliances. The guys aren't really talking about her either. So I'm just like, I feel like she's in a really good spot, even over Avery. I would say like Avery does well and everything, but I think Kayla is just like under the radar, and it looks like knows how to solidify relationships, as you can see with the Goose situation, even with like her and Dougie and everything. And I think she's in a good spot, honestly.
I did want to touch on the Avery and Kayla comparison, right? Because I do think that they're kind of in similar places, but their execution is very different. And I think Kayla ultimately, in the collective, the overall group may be a priority for more people than Avery, but I think key powerful players like very Kayla is a powerful player. Like I don't want to get that twisted. But like Anthony, I think will pick Avery over Kayla any day. I think Victoria is in the same place. They made that final two on day 2. I haven't really seen Victoria and Kayla individually really solidify that tightness. Bailey, who is a little bit more on the louder side, but I believe Bailey has influence, especially over Todd. I think Bailey prioritizes Avery over Kayla. So I do think for the overall collective of the house, Kayla might be seen as more of a priority. But for the people I think are very influential and really taking over the game, I think they prioritize Avery over Kayla. So I'm interested to see how I don't want to spoil, but how this HOH week goes down, especially with those 2 key players in mind.
For sure. I do want to get into Dougie and Kayla a little bit more. Real quick, there was a question for you, Betty, in the chat. What would you have done if Spicy and Anthony walked into your BBCAN12 house? Without getting yourself in trouble, of course.
Okay, well, I had no relationships with them previously because this was before BBCAN12 had started. Okay, so someone asked me this question and they replaced Spice and Anthony with Ika, and I immediately was like, I would never vote her out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Really? So I think that maybe with Spicy and Anthony, without having a relationship in the beginning, my initial thought would be like, we need to get these people out. They've already played the game. Like, I think that would be my mission, like through and through. I don't even think I could be convinced otherwise. Like, I don't know, but that's probably me and the way I think. Other people, like, for example, with Avery seeing Spicy and quote unquote saying that was her favorite player, she probably has that same connection that I'm sharing about Ika. Like, I would never. So, that's probably another reason why Spice has such an advantage right now. So, yeah. That's
okay. We actually have another question from Adelie. Off Big Brother question. Betty, would you ever do the traders? Because they're in Canada now, so would
I hope
you do
the
it?
answer is yes, because we would love to see it. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think I would do the traders. It's like such a shorter commitment too. So yeah, I would. And I would be really good at it too. I would be a trader.
I think so too.
Just murder people.
I live.
Yeah.
All right, make it happen, Canada. Okay, so there's like a war kind of brewing in right now. You know what I'm saying? We got like Kayla versus Dougie. Low key's happening. Dougie's trying to keep the guys safe. He's protecting Matt. He's protecting Tola. And then you also got Kayla, which she wants these guys out because Goose leaked information that they're throwing her name out there. And she's like, what the hell? We need to get these guys the hell out of here. So low key, Kayla's getting annoyed. I thought it was interesting that Dougie was kind of telling Kayla, go talk to Matt about it. And then she completely was like, I'm not effing doing that. Like, no. So there's something brewing here. We're going to talk about the twist a little later, but we saw Kayla drag Anthony in the safety chain as well for like who you don't want to get this power. Is this going to happen? Is this like when all the fodder is out of here? Are we going to see a Kayla versus Dougie war, or is he going to just fall back and do the Dougie thing? Let everybody get eliminated. What do we think is going to happen here?
I don't think it's a Kayla and Anthony war. I think it's a Spicy V versus Anthony war, in my opinion, to begin. Because ultimately, I don't know. If I was Anthony sitting there and there's like 2 other people before Victoria who get like the top 3 before me, I'm looking at that sideways. And like, I called my mom because she's really getting into the season for once. So I'm living. She's like, Anthony looks so mad. Like, oh, like it's not looking good. And I was like, yeah, you kind of ate with that because he did look, I don't want to say pissed, but he didn't look happy. He didn't look at peace with that decision. And so I think in talks of what's being happening in the digital dailies, I think they're recognizing that Spicy isn't doing what Anthony wants or what Matthew wants, and by extension, what Lexus wants. So I think people are starting to talk about who's going to swing first. And I think if there is going to be a big swing, it's either going to be Victoria or Anthony. It just depends who's first.
Yeah, I'm with that. I thought it was really crazy how, because the week before we saw Kayla kind of like take the script that Anthony gave her and then just like follow it to a T. This week she was like, "No, I'm not doing that." Like, I think she's starting to get tired of the nonsense. I think everyone's starting to see like, why are we doing what Dougie's telling us to do? And this is really like the first week Anthony's not really getting his way, which is interesting. But I don't know. I'm here for it. I do think that there is a discussion to have about Victoria. I'm gonna say it for a little bit later, but there's something brewing there, and I think it's really interesting. So what are you gonna do? Okay, so obviously one other thing I want to talk about before we get to this chaotic twist was Lexus and Matt, right? I think Lexus is also in a very interesting spot because I think coming in here, I don't think she was really like in a spot where she could like do anything. I thought that she was just kind of like the bottom of this alliance. I was just like, I don't see her in a great position. And things have kind of flipped since the twist happened, but we saw on one side, she was about to veto Tola, and Victoria kind of pressured her into not doing it with the threat of, hey, all the girls are going to turn on you if you do this, so don't do it. And Lexus obviously didn't use the veto. But also, we kind of saw like this smoke screen during the safety chain where she picked Matt off. Now, obviously, I haven't seen Dailies. I don't know if anything else has happened, but she picked Matt to not get the power. And I don't know if that put her in the good graces with the girls or something. But it does seem like Lexus is now in the middle where Victoria used to be. You know what I'm saying? And she can kind of go with the Anthony and Matt side, or she can go with the girls. And, you know, she can kind of float right now. What is Lexus's best path to like make a run for this? How do you guys think? Who do you think she should be working with?
I think she should be sticking with the girls, honestly. I think that obviously right now she's in a really great position because she doesn't have direct power, but she's still protected on both ends. So I think obviously that's a really great place to be. But bias, I'm thinking, screw the showmance, stick with the girls. I know it's obviously challenging and it really depends on who wins power. So it's a tough call to say, but I think that it being in a showmance makes it tricky too, because no matter, even if you do want to stay loyal to the girls, you do have this, you're spending every waking moment with this other person. Like obviously things start brewing, so your loyalty might be in question, but I would say go for the girls always.
I agree. Maybe this is being shady, but I feel like a showmance is only really important if it's actually benefiting you. And in this case, I don't think it's benefiting her whatsoever. It's only hindering her. Because a lot of showmances, it's like, oh, the other person is killing the game, right? Like last year's showmance, they were benefiting each other because one had really good social game and one was an amazing competitor. So it's like, hello, yeah, I'm gonna stay in this, but it's just like, what is this doing for you other than hindering you? Now, that being said, I feel like she does have a chance to kind of rebuild her reputation. It's still early in the game, but I think she needs to show, you know, the women, stay on the women's side, that like she's for them, she's, you know, with them. I feel like because she's in the showmance, Bailey's like slowly inching up, even though she's in Hot Chocolate. I feel like Bailey slowly, like almost at the same as her, just because Bailey has proven that she's loyal. You know what I mean? So it's like she needs to be careful, or like Bailey is going to stay in over her. Like they're just going to like be like, she has done nothing for us and she's only for Matt. So I think she just needs to prove with the women that she's there for them.
But don't you think she proved that a little bit when she
yeah, that's why I'm like, it's better. It's better now. Yeah, I think it's better now. It's like that's one way that she's done it. So she just needs to keep, unfortunately, with Big Brother, you have to keep proving yourself, or else they're like
all day, all night.
All day. Like you can't have one moment where you don't prove that you're with them. So I think that, yes, I think that's like one step closer. When she did the Matt sit thing, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gagged. Like I can't believe she just did that. You know what I mean? But it's like, I think she realized like, oh, if I don't like this, if I don't do this, like they might think I'm like not with them. And she had to pick a guy, you know, and might as well pick this guy, right? So
for sure.
Yeah.
I think that also she did really save face. Like I tweeted, I was like, that was a small move, but a powerful move, because they can't say they can't be like, well, you haven't done this, because one, she didn't use the veto, which is what the girls wanted, and two, she picked them over Matt. So it's like you can't really say anything about her at that point. If they say anything else, then it's potentially not true and accurate, because her actions have spoken louder than her words. So I think that's fair, or they've actually aligned, if anything. But I think Lexus is in a better position overall in the game than a lot of these girls, because they just seem so together. Whereas Lexus kind of seems more flexible and adaptable and more open to other people, right? Because she is working with the girls. But there's still a whole other side of the house that is very important. I don't think Tola would prioritize any of the other girls over Lexus. Maybe Victoria, because they weirdly seem to have something going on. But I think with that executive power of veto situation, it gave him a little bit of like the side eye, like, oh, Todd's above me, I guess. Like that's how I would look at it anyways. So I think Lexus overall is actually in the middle, but I don't think she has that much security, whereas other people have security. So it's a very interesting dynamic in this house, because you may be in the middle, but you're also very accessible to get out. Like I think Lexus could get out at a like double eviction or a triple eviction if that's being done this year. So versus like someone like Kayla or Victoria.
My only thing is I am actually worried if she goes to the girls' side, because I think, even though I do think there is room to like build, I think that her position at the bottom of this alliance is almost like cemented. And if she does go with the girls, I mean, what's stopping them from like, all right, let's get Lexus the hell out of here? Like Vic, Bailey, Kayla, they've been just voicing about like how done they are with Lexus, and once it's down to them, like she needs to go, So I am a little worried about that. That's like a position where she needs to comp. Where if she does go and Matt, because I'm gonna be real with you, I don't see Anthony being loyal to the girls for that much longer. I feel like when he does go do his thing, and Matt is probably going to be a part of that, it might be beneficial to go with him, because I don't know if Anthony would go to the final three with the showmance. I don't know if like, I don't know. Lexus is in just like a weird spot, because no matter what she does, I don't think she's going to be in like the hierarchy of like
either side.
Like like she's in danger regardless. So, but I do think out of everyone in the house, Matt's like the only one who would probably take her to that point. So that's why I'm like,
Anthony would take her. I think
Anthony would take her.
I think he would take her. I think he could demolish her in a speech, no problem.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think people just assume that because the girls have all decided like we're gonna work together. Like I don't doubt a bitter juror. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with the bitter jury. I think if you made someone feel some type of way on their way out, they have every right to be mad at you. Like it's a part of the game, it's a social game, right? And I think if betrayal is done in a way that's a little nasty, which is very possible in the Big Brother Canada house, people have the right to potentially be bitter. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So I'm not saying that the girls would be completely bitter against Lexus, but they've already said kind of their piece about her. And so I wouldn't be surprised if like there could potentially be bad blood if something's done in a way that isn't appreciated. And you never know what will be appreciated and what won't be appreciated, because, well, yes, you're spending 24 hours in a day with a group of house guests. Like you don't truly know every aspect of them and how they're going to think. You can think that you can have a good idea, you can size it up, but you don't fully know, because anything can happen. So I do think it's better for Lexus to stay with Anthony and Matthew. I agree with that, because she is at the bottom. Like she at this point, there's nothing she can do, in my opinion. Like really, like she could throw an HOH. Like she did, I think, the most perfect move, and like I still don't think it's gonna change anything. So I think it takes an HOH, and whoever gets an HOH and takes that shot at that first side and really draws the line, I think they're gonna be at the advantage.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this twist. Like, what the hell happened here? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think Vivek got completely screwed over, and I do think Goose's HOH got completely screwed over. But Vivek, he had it coming. Like,
For
let's
sure.
be real. But like, did we feel bad? Because if I feel like if anyone else went, there would probably be like a different story in the fandom. But I think since it's Vivek, people are like, like, all right, whatever. You know, like, how do we feel about this twist, the executive veto?
I mean, it was for the BB historians, it was like the coup d'etat all over again. But like, I didn't understand when Arissa was like one or two people may have like protection, or I forget the term she used, but I was like, two, isn't it a veto? And the way they elaborated that, I think had so much potential for so much chaos, because I was really hoping, this is really bad. I was kind of hoping that Victoria would take off Tola, and then Tola would do the move and put up Bailey, and then Bailey would stay by the vote. But I just wanted ultimate chaos. So, like, as a viewer, that's just what I wanted. I didn't want Bailey to necessarily go, but I wanted chaos to like erupt. And I was really hoping for that, but ultimately Vivek kind of didn't play his HOH well at all. We talked about it a little bit last week, but he didn't talk game with people. He talked personal with them. And so when it came to game, everyone was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what he's gonna do. Who's we? Is the we in the room with us? Like, what are you talking about? And so I don't think he solidified relationships with new people. I think he kind of maintained or strengthened some, but he was so at the bottom of the barrel that it didn't matter. And you betrayed your number one, or the number one who had you. You literally got the veto taken. There was no way that people were going to trust Vivek anymore. So he kind of ruined his game the moment he put up Dennis on the block. As much as he may think otherwise, which is okay. Perception is reality. I think that it was done for. So do I think that the executive power needed to be used? No, I don't think Victoria needed to do that. But I guess Tola and Todd are better for her game than Vivek, which is crazy because I feel like Vivek would have protected Victoria a lot more than potentially Tola. But again, we don't know what their relationship's like. So big question mark.
I think Vivek's HOH, like, obviously I'm separating the person from the game. I think Vivek's probably a great person. But like when he went into HOH, I think that was a great opportunity for him to like leverage information to make an informed decision. And I feel like what he did was he took other people's influence and he was like, okay, this will get me loyalty. And then he ended up like just making such a like terrible move. And literally what Dennis said happened. Like he literally went home. Vivek probably woke up in the morning thinking like, oh, you know, another safe week. Gonna cast my vote. Literally walks out the door. It's tragic, but at the same time, I think it was to be expected. Do I think Victoria should have used the executive power? She always says, this is Big Brother. I don't know, I've heard that a couple of times. Like, we're here to play Big Brother. So I think regardless, if she gets that type of power, she's going to use it. And really, it just built her relationship stronger with Todd, because he was saying, I did catch a little bit of the dailies today, and it was just saying, like, he was saying, I'm so loyal to you. And, you know, of course I was going to make the move that you had said. I was going to get Vivek out. You know what I mean? So I think that worked in her favor anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a good move. I feel like at the beginning, Victoria was like making some good reads, but like not the best reads of things. She was kind of just going with Dougie's stuff. And even going into this episode, I was like, oh my God, please, for the love of God, just ignore for once. Just like think about the whole situation. Because she was all the way like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like Tola, take Tola down. Tola's going to do this. And then she was like actually listening to other people being like, that's not gonna happen. Like he will not do that. And then she was like thinking like, okay, like maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should do Todd. And you know what? The Todd situation made sense because Todd doesn't really have anyone but Bailey for the most part, right? So it's like she's like, okay, I got Bailey on my side. I'm gonna grab Todd on my side. Tola is very heavily on Anthony's side. Vivek is maybe with Spicy V, but definitely more with Dougie, I feel like. So she's like, if I take down Todd, I have one more person on my side. He loses one person on his side because it's like they're together, but they're not really. Like they're building up their sides for the most part. So like this made sense for her to do this. And yeah, it's Big Brother. Like use the damn executive veto. How boring would that be, right? It didn't really hurt her to use it either way. I think it worked out in the end. I think it's fine. Like it may have hurt her relationship with Anthony like a tiny bit, but I feel like with Anthony, he's like, she looks like a bigger target anyway because she just keeps winning these things all the time. So like I want this all-star who's at my level, who's winning more competitions. Like that's a better story for me to say, well, why would you get rid of me when this person keeps winning competitions? So like, and is running the other side of the house. So you know, it's probably fine at the end of the day. Like they're going to toss each other under the train anyway, right? Or whatever it is. But yes, that's how I see it.
The reason why I feel like maybe I just think that whole executive power, maybe I think it's the way she potentially conducted herself that made me go like, just don't use it, because she got it, which first of all is a big target. I'm sorry, if I'm in a house and I'm seeing you're the most popular, you're the one that everyone feels okay giving power to, like in my mind, like you're my biggest threat. So that would be an additional thing to add a big target in my mind, because how are two all-stars in the top 4? Like, how is that even happening? And then an all-star 1, like, I don't know if the house guests are not clicking into it, but anyways, like that's a conversation for another time.
They don't care. They're starstruck.
Still,
it's like there's one winner. Like you guys can be friends after the show is over. Like as long as we're not nasty to each other, y'all can kiki, do the cute little meetups here and there. Like the girls like to socialize. Like that's a shared experience that you'll always have. Like, come on, like let's play to win. I don't know, but after she won, I think she did too much talking instead of listening. I wish she would have just like not shown where her head was at constantly, because she was telling Tola, you know what, I'm gonna save you. You know what you're gonna do? And he was like, I'll do Bailey. And then she's like, I don't want Bailey yet. Like I need you to do XYZ. And then she goes to Anthony, and it just felt like she was kind of divulging a little too much to too many people where her head is at. And I can understand if Bailey was like looking at her a little sideways at the fact she had to hesitate, because it's like, why would you save Tola over Todd? Like that's a question mark that could be put in her mind. And you don't need much to have someone like switch on you, right? So that creates uncertainty with Bailey. Also almost uncertainty with Todd. Obviously she uses it and Todd has no one. So I'm assuming that he's just fine with it. Like he doesn't care. But Tola, for example, that relationship also took a hindrance. Anthony's relationship. And we're seeing in the digital dailies that there is aftermath with Matthew as well. So I'm not saying that maybe the use of the power was wrong. I think it's maybe the way it led up to it, because I just feel like it hindered a lot of relationships. And she just gained Todd, who was going to be working with her anyways, because he literally has no one. He's kind of pigeonholed himself into this dynamic where he's good with the girls, but he's just someone else to Victoria, to Avery, to Kayla. So
what she was saying though, when they were coming into the kitchen or the storage room, was she's like, oh my God, what should I do? And then they were like, you should do this, this, and this. And she's like, oh, okay. And then they would walk away and then she would just take that information. But I really do think she was probably was listening to what they were saying, but she knew she wasn't going to take Tola off the block, because he even said to her, I'm not going to put Bailey up. But there was like this little flinch in his eye, and you just knew. He's like, let me take the shot, And I was like, oh. He was just too like, let me take the shot, and I'm glad that she saw like this would have no benefit to her. But yeah,
I think this showed me, and hopefully the rest of the house, that Victoria, at least before this, was in like the best spot. Like literally every single other person had at least one person that they did not trust to get this power. Everyone else did not pull this girl down, and that's interesting to me, because even when they were having the one-on-ones, like everyone was telling her like everything, like they trusted her. I'm like, oh damn, like Victoria is really like that locked in, because I do think that she was just like floating in the middle. She did not want to win the HOH this week, which is why she threw it to Goose. But I think she is very conflicted, because obviously she knows that she needs Dougie as far as right now. And she's trying to like listen to his guidance and everything, but as well as the girls, which I think this week has really shown me that, like, if you get a big group of people and just corner someone, like, they're going to do what you say. They did that to Vivek. They sort of did to Goose, but not really. And now they did it to Vic. And it's like, all right, this has more people that I trust in this group than the other one. So I'm going to do what these people say. And it's cool. I mean, there's always going to be like the hot chocolates, but there's always like this lingering idea of like a girls versus guys alliance right now. And I think the only people that can like bounce back and forth is Lexus and Vic, which is pretty interesting. So I want to see where Victoria goes from here. I do think she's a little sporadic with her gameplay still, but I do think she is in a really good position to win, because I do think, even though she is such a big threat, I think as long as Dougie's in the game, he's always going to be seen as a bigger threat than her. So I'm curious to see what her trajectory is after this week, but it was very interesting, to say the least, to watch that night go down. Lastly, so obviously Tola was threatening on like, oh, I'm gonna throw Bailey up, and then Todd stays and Vivek goes and all that. We see who the next HOH is. Spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't want to know, but Avery is now our HOH. Do we know who she nominated or who she plans on nominating it?
Yeah, the potentials, I know.
Yeah,
Cool.
we have Goose, which he kind of knows, because wow, that was crazy. Like, whew. And then there was talks between Tola and Todd, and I think it's still up in the air, but I believe it's officially Tola. But I've seen it switch back and forth, so it's one of the T's.
Okay. Is that this is an easy week, right?
She wanted it to be an easy week at least, so I think it
They're
is.
talking about backdooring Anthony, so honestly, I don't know if it'll be easy week.
They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that.
You would never know. All it takes is like someone to piss off. Here's the thing. I've noticed that it don't take much for them to be pissed off, especially if people are on slop. Like this week, Victoria and Kayla were pissed. And I really think it has to do with the fact that they were on slop. Like, I think already being 100%. In the house is one level, but slop is not one to be played with or trifled with. And we saw it. We saw it in the digital dailies, like the impact, like that scene with Matt walking in was so funny. Like, I was dying. Like, I thought it was so funny. So it doesn't take much to piss people off in the house. And Avery is one of those people who likes to like flip. She's kind of like, if I had to compare to the US season, it's kind of like a Suri Izzy moment with like Avery and Victoria and Kayla. Like all it takes is like one thing to happen or information to be given, and they're like, maybe we'll take out this person, maybe we'll take out that person. So while there have been easy weeks in the house, we've seen that they don't actually occur. We thought Vivek's week could have been an easy week and he made a mess of it. We thought Goose could have been an easy week. He made a mess out of it. So while Avery is in a better position, I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy week because you never know. And if, let's say, she puts up Todd and Goose, and then Tola wins veto, and then they're like, you know what? I'm going to take Goose off the block. Let's say. I don't know if that will happen, but then it's like, okay, who do you put up now? Because you can't put up Tola. Yeah, Goose is safe. Would you put up Anthony? Would that even happen? Or are you then going to put up Matt? That's going to piss off Lexus. Are you going to put up Bailey? That's going to, you never know. The power of veto is a very important power. And it is classic to be used in Big Brother Canada. So I don't know. I don't want to say it's an easy week. It should be, but we said that about every week since the show has started.
Not wrong.
100%.
So, go ahead, Betty. You're good.
No, I just mean like you're right. Everything you said about the veto is right, because the game can change so substantially just based on whoever wins and who takes someone off. So,
yeah. I'd love a backdoor. That would be great. Like I mean, it seems like every week is a backdoor, but like this one would be real nice because I'm so done with the starstruckness. Like, this is why I don't like, if you're going to make it an all-star season, make it an all-star season, like all-star, like everyone, because you always have a couple people and it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot go against, like, if it was like Suri, I can't go against whatever. That's why I like the UK traders over the US traders, because I'm like, just give me regular people or give me stars. Well, that's why I like the US better this season. Like, just give it all of one, because I want everyone to be on an even playing field where they're not like clouded by like fandom. Like, just play the game, So I'm just like, it'd be nice if we got one out so that we could just play. Let's just play the game, play it your own way.
So quick question. So did jury start yet?
No, but
No.
I think
So
they've been talking about double evictions and jury. Like, that's already something that they've been talking about in the house.
So how crazy would it be if Anthony got pre-jury?
What's gonna happen?
It won't happen.
That won't happen.
Yeah.
If Victoria lets it, like, okay, we've talked about it a little bit, but Victoria again is playing two different games. She's playing the game in the Big Brother house, and then she's playing optics. Like, period. She said a lot of the time, I can't do this because the alumni is going to be mad at me. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Right? I don't think Victoria can do anything towards Anthony pre-jury. Like, I think she's very afraid of like that reaction. We see her like say stuff like, Canada, I know this is bad, but like, let me explain. I think she really is concerned about optics this time around as well. And so if she were to cast a vote against Anthony with everything going on, look at the alumni. Like, a lot of people are backing Anthony. Like, I've been seeing a lot of people, and I'm sure it's also because he's a nice person. Like, he's
a great guy.
Really sweet. So I have nothing bad to say about Anthony, and I think he's on a TV show, so he's gonna be a little bit of a menace. Who doesn't love a menace? I love a menace. So like,
Me too.
But I think she's very concerned about optics. So if Victoria isn't full-fledged to get him out, I think she's saying that to like make the girls feel like she's not with him. But I don't think she can. And if she gets rid of Anthony like pre-jury, she is the next biggest target. So it just leaves her too vulnerable for pre-jury. Like, pre-jury, no.
If we're talking optics,
yeah.
So we do talk optics, especially with the alumni. Betty, if she takes out Anthony, you gonna be mad at her?
No, I wouldn't be mad at her, but I doubt that she would do it. I look back at season 9, and I know that, when I look at her, how she played in season 9 versus now, I know that one of her probably biggest opportunities was staying loyal to a group or staying loyal to someone. So I know that if that was something she wanted to rewrite, it was that coming into this season. So that's why I don't think that she would cut Anthony pre-jury. Even if she was thinking about cutting him now, I don't think that would come into play until much later in the game, if it even happens, to be honest. But no, I wouldn't be mad if she cut him. If anything, I'd be like, oh, you're kidding me. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Just because I know Anthony and I know he's a good man. Like, he is a good man and he's playing a good game. He might be arrogant or whatever everyone's saying, but to your point, it's a show. And I think he's doing a great job, especially in terms of his influence.
Yeah. Agreed.
No, you don't agree?
What?
No, I agree. I love Anthony. He's also on my draft, so I really do want him to succeed. Like, I think a lot of people are always like, I think I tweeted that I wanted Tola for HOH, not because I was like, I want the girls to go, but I just wanted, I wanted chaos and I wanted Anthony to thrive for a week.
Yeah.
Because it would be Anthony's week, and people were like, what? Why would you want that? I'm like, I'm rooting for Anthony. Like, I get that you guys aren't like the biggest fan of him this season, but I am a fan of the All-Stars. I am a fan of the Black people. I will always root for them. So like, it is what it is. So
no, I'm a fan of Anthony. I've been a fan of Anthony since season 7 because his game is like the game that I would dream to play, which is just like running it. Running it. You know what I mean? It's because I liked his game there because he was like doing it in a way that he wasn't an all-star. He's just like a mastermind. You know what I mean? And he's doing it this season, but a lot of it is just because he's an all-star. And I'm like, like, stop doing this. Like, just play your game. But if he went to the end, I wouldn't be mad either. Like, I'm good either way. I'm like, I just want a big move. I think that'd be fine. Everything else has just been like, like, we can, let's do something big,
All right. We got anything else we want to talk about, guys?
I'm surprised Natalia hasn't asked where's Tola. What's going on with Tola?
It's
Oh,
because we actually got Tola content for once. So it's we're all
yes.
good.
I know his like weird like I'm going for Bailey. I'm like, are you even logically thinking about that? Or are you just thinking about like someone that isn't on your team? You're like, I gotta get them out. I don't know. I just think it's not.
Listen, he shocked me when he said that he was going to lie to Vic and throw Bailey up. I'm like, this guy's trying to play. Like, I'm here for it. I don't know why he hasn't been shown this far, but like apparently he's deep in with Anthony, and I'm curious to see where he goes. I would like a Tola HOH. I thought so.
I mean, I can tell you right now, it's probably gonna be Bailey that's going up.
I mean, I did say this preseason, but anyone who comes from the show and comes from Ottawa is always chaotic. We have not had someone who comes from Ottawa and not be a little bit of a menace, and Tola just falls right into it. Like, in my opinion, Tola fits exactly the criteria of a lot of what a lot of the Ottawa players bring to the table. So I'm not surprised by his gameplay, but I'm interested to see what happens on Avery's week. I think whoever wins veto is going to dictate how the next 3 weeks will go.
All right. Well, that is it. That's our show. I got to get these people out of here. So if you are interested in following our page to keep up what we're doing over here, please follow our social media pages, our Twitter. Now we have an Instagram up. Shout out Josiane. We have our Instagram up now. So you can go follow silent_podcast or on Twitch and everything else at Silent Podcast. And if you're listening on our audio platform and you like what you hear, you can rate it 5 stars. 5 stars only. If it's not 5 stars, don't rate it at all. Just wait till you hear something you do like. And lastly, like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. It helps us with the algorithm. Josie, where can people find you? What do you have coming up?
You guys can find me on all social media that matters at JosianeXNM, JOSIANEXNM. I'm so excited because the summer is coming and I feel like I'm going to be really in my content creator bag. So follow me on there. Yes. I am recapping every week here, but I'm also doing Exit Press, and I did do my interview with Vivek. And it was very interesting. Like, you guys should tune in. Like, he was saying some stuff and I really want people's opinion on it. So check that out. I am also potentially going to be doing a Vanderpump Rules mid-season conversation with Katie, who is also a host here on Bounce Checks. Vanderpump Villa came out and I have not watched that, but I am going to get into the gig. So there may be some potential Vanderpump realness universe coming from me in the next few weeks. So stay tuned.
All right. How about you, Chanel? What's going on?
Yeah, with me, just doing content creation on all platforms under Coder Girl Chan. I do mostly cozy, chaotic gaming content. So you can catch me on TikTok. You can catch me on Twitch. Those are my 2 main platforms there. Yeah, I'm streaming there Tuesdays and Saturdays currently, some other random times. So come check me out.
All right. And Betty, first of all, thank you so much for coming. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at BettyYearsaw3 and then on Instagram at BethlehemYearsaw. But what I'll be up to is probably just tweeting about the season and sharing my thoughts as we go. And that's probably where you can find me, especially when it comes to this. But I'll probably be posting more of my thoughts because it's getting spicier. So, yeah. Thank you guys for having me. It was fun, okay?
Well, listen, Betty. Obviously, you did the Silent Podcast banishment. We're not doing any more anytime soon, but you pull up to the next one or no?
You know what? Am I gonna come?
I hope you do, because I lived for you. Like I was living for you.
I was so mad.
Taking this seriously, I was like, I got banished.
I was so mad because you were like,
Janelle,
I'm just getting my food. And then all of a sudden I was like, what do you mean she's got you?
It was like and then it was somebody on that had wanted to be on my team or something. And anyway, obviously I don't care, but I remember just being like, I don't even get a chance.
I was so upset.
So you're right. I'll come back. Redemption, baby.
I think you'll win next time, honestly, because everyone I talked to was like, we wanted to work with Betty. It just didn't happen.
And I was out of the loop, so I would have been a really great person to take. But you know what? It's a cold world out there, and it's all good. I get it. Respect.
All right. Thank you, Betty. And like usual, you can find me at 8 Ball Bangers on all social media platforms. I've been active. I'm active podcast, and so you can check out a new video I did recently where I was talking to the camera about Big Brother Twitter. So if you want to see me in front of a camera talking about Big Brother Twitter, check that out. It was good. It's getting good feedback, so that was cool. You can also check me out on the Isaiah and Nicole show every week. We had Rob Sessionino on last week, and that was chaotic. I'm talking about adult bots with nudes in their bio, so you can go check that out. And lastly, you can find obviously here it's on a podcast every single Friday talking Big Brother Canada with these lovely people. But until next time, have a good one. Bye.